We are rebuilding a KX65 motor from the bottom up. Welcome to the video, guys. It is time to take this KX65 motor apart that was out of this 65 that the WeBe Hair Scramble series is going to use as a loaner bike for first-time racers, kids that have never raced before, maybe don't have a bike to race. They're going to have this bike and a bunch of gear and all that stuff ready for them. We are donating our time to rebuild it and make it fresh and ready to rock and roll. Rocky Mountain ATV MC has provided the parts. Huge thank you to them. Decal Works is doing all the graphics and stuff like that. So really excited about this project, guys. If you haven't joined us on it, make sure you check out all the other videos in the series. But this one is all about splitting cases and putting a new motor in a KX65. So that's what we're getting ready to do. All right, guys, as promised, I'm going to try to bring you in closer. We're using the Insta360 Ace Pro as our close-up camera. So let's start by taking this cylinder off. We got some 12mm nuts here. All right, sometimes, guys, you gotta tap these things. Always want to use the rubber part of a mallet, not the metal part. If you're doing this, you can really jack some things up with the metal piece. Piston looks all right, not bad. We'll take a look at that cylinder here in a bit. Looks all right. Definitely got some pitting right there. Not sure what that's from. It's on the exhaust side. Could be some detonation. So hopefully our cylinder looks good. So we're trying to strip that bolt out. That's awesome. Now we're going to get a Torx. It's about that size. We're gonna have to replace this bolt because that thing is not wanting to come loose. Must be some Loctite on that thing because it did not want to come out with the normal one.
Well, it's not the similar metals because it's
All right, guys, we got the cases split. Sorry, I did not bring you in for the case splitting situation. I've done that on other videos. I was busy. There's people here talking. Anyway, let's take a look at the crank. The crank actually feels good, but it's got lots of water and stuff on it, so seals were leaking. Obviously, this seal was leaking. So now what we're going to do is we're going to knock that seal and bearing out. This is weird. KXs are weird. The seals come in from the inside out. There we go. Boom. You can see this got super, super hot there, guys. Now for this one, I'm going to set it on this wood. I'm going to hold. You see, I'm holding the transmission because I don't want to take the transmission out because I don't really need to because the transmission bearings are perfect on this thing. So there's no reason to take it out. It's almost out. That's right. Richard dared his hands. We did it. All right, we got everything out that we need to get out. Like I said, we're going to leave this in there because transmission bearings are perfect. There's no problem with those. They're all shiny and they move perfectly, and that's all good. And by the way, guys, that is normally the case with stuff. Now, if someone's got a whole bunch of hours, this bike doesn't really have that many hours, I don't think. I'm not 100% sure. If a bike's got a ton of hours or people just want to replace the transmission bearings, we'll absolutely do it. But this situation, we're, like I said, donating our time, parts of all that stuff. I'm going to try to do it for a really good job. The bike's going to be good and reliable, but also not spend just too much money or time. So, great. Now that's all ready to go. We're going to take these things. I'm going to clean them like a little bit in the parts washer. Then I'm going to set them into the ultrasonic. It's nice and hot, and let that thing run and get the get all the extra gunk off. We'll pull them out, clean them, get them dry. And the next thing here on this video, we're going to take a look at the cylinder, see how that looks. All right, guys, got the cases out of the ultrasonic. They are looking shiny and happy. When I get done with these out of the ultrasonic, I clean them with the parts washer, so just some mineral spirits and things like that to kind of break up all the little junk that gets left. And then I run them through hot water. I like super hot water in just our sink, nothing like boiling, but hot water can get all that off of there. So then that leaves them super dry. I blow them out with the air nozzle, get them super dry. But then if I'm going to leave them for more than, well, actually, even if I'm not leaving them, even if I'm working with them right away, I take this stuff, this Z-Max lube. This is really good, and I have no affiliate deal with these guys. I sell it here in the shop, but I don't, anyway, I don't make any money on this stuff. I just want to let you know I really, really like it. It goes on with some sort of propellant that's really thin, and then it sets up like a grease. So I spray this onto all the steel parts, so the bearings, transmission, all that stuff, to keep it from rusting or kind of any kind of corrosion. Also, that makes it nice when I put it together, if the bike is not, you know, running for quite a while, I don't put oil in the motor or whatever, it's at least protected from any kind of corrosion. So I like that stuff. That's been sitting, actually this is the next day now, so it's been sitting overnight, all ready to go. Now let's grab that cylinder and take a look in there, and fingers crossed it looks good. Obviously this is gonna have to go in the ultrasonic and get it really cleaned up too. It doesn't look super good right now, but I'm gonna run a home through it and see how we get. Oh man, I don't know. I don't think so, guys. Dang, that's a bummer. So let's see if we can see. So that bridge right there, the Nicosil is off of that, and then over here on this side, it's super scratched up. I can feel it with my fingernails. Like, actually, I feel it with my skin. It's not good. Dang. All right, so now we're in a bit of a hurry. We're gonna have to order one of these. Head looks okay. A little bit of pitting up here, but I can clean that up. That'll be fine. So we're gonna have to get a new cylinder because that's just not gonna work. Dang. Shoot. Well, this is what happens, guys, in real life. Welcome to real life motorcycles. So the rest of this video will be putting the bottom end back together, and then probably setting it in the frame, and then we're going to end there, and then we'll get the top end and everything here as soon as we can. So, yeah, I got some other stuff I got to fix. I found some not happiness here. There's a, I don't know if you can, there you can see, like, see that, how it sticks up? That's no good. It's right there. I found a big dinger right there. I don't know how that even happened. So it's in a little rougher shape than I thought it was going to be. That's kind of a bummer. But that is all fixable. I can take care of that here. I don't have to send it out to a machine shop or anything like that. I can fix that. I can surface that and make it nice. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's not quite in the shape that I was hoping it was in. It's all right. You never know. I mean, MJ told me it was rough and it was tired. So it is. It's rough and tired. No big deal. We'll get it all dialed in. I'm going to find that cylinder right now. All right, guys, next job is to put main bearings into these cases. Now, I've had the main bearings in the freezer now for a couple days. What that's doing is shrinking them slightly. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get our blue wrench out, and we're going to heat this up a whole bunch so we can drop that thing in there. But we got to be a little bit careful because there's a seal. We got to put a seal in first, which is super annoying on these. So what I'm going to do, I'm putting the seal in by hand because I'll end up having to finish it with a tool probably, but so I like to use the back side of a socket because it's more surface area. We'll go here. Come over here, check it. Still got ways to go because you want it to butt right up against these stops. right, nice and butted up. Now, I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to go grab those bearings real fast. All right, got our cold bearings. Set those out of the way. Now, we're going to heat this up from the outside. Instead of coming in here, if we didn't have the seal, we could come in here. But since we don't, since we have the seal there, we're going to come out here, heat the case. There we go. Boom, just like that. All good to go. That works so well, guys. Now you saw me, I did hit it with the hammer. I hit it with the soft side of the hammer, and I was not hitting it very hard. You guys are bouncing around because you're in my like teardown tray here, but yeah, drops right in. Now I gotta do the other side. I really wish Kawasaki didn't have the seals in first, because that makes it, because I like to get it way hotter so it just basically falls in, but you can't do that with this. So anyway, put you guys down. We'll get on to putting the crank in here in just a second. All right, guys, I got the crank pushed into this side. No big deal. I actually had to push it. I have a crank puller here from Tusk, which I really really like, but it won't work on this little KX motor. Let me see if I can show you without losing age. So if you look at this end of the crankshaft right there, it can't grab a hold of it. The nut that goes on the end is too small to get held by this, because this basically, you push this, you go with this on, then you put this over the nut. Anyway, the nut rides inside this. I'll show you hopefully on this side. We're gonna do it. But this is a really nice tool for not pushing. If you're really careful, you can push them in. You just don't want to. You got to be very careful to not squeeze the webs of the crank and cause problems there. That's the biggest problem. So let me show you a few things, guys. I showed you before. Let me see if I can get down in there so you can see that imperfection. I cleaned that up. Same with that one that was raised up over here. There's quite a few. Like someone dinged that really bad. I'm not sure what was going on, who rebuilt this the last time, but it wasn't done very well. So that's all right. We got it done. I think it's going to be fine. Someone's going to be like, you friggin' just with the machine, you didn't service that perfectly with the... Guys, it's going to be fine. You can't take a bunch... I couldn't take this to a machine shop and have them like skim it, because if I lose too much material, then when we push the case together, it'll bind up. So you can't do that. Don't want to buy new cases. So this is the way we're doing it. I've done this a freaking ton of times and never had a problem. So we're going to use Yamabond, or actually I use the 1184 from 3Bond. It's the same as Yamabond. What we're going to do is we're going to clean this up really good, not with the tool, but just with some brake cleaner, stuff like that. We're going to take our 3Bond, there we go, 1184. We're going to make a gasket all the way around this, nice and slow and easy. Get that all on there, and then we're going to set this on there, and I'll show you guys when I get to setting it on there. I'll show you what that looks like. Alright guys, now we're going to let that sit for probably about 5 or 10 minutes. You actually let it sit for quite a while and let it tack up. It won't actually get totally hard. I mean, it takes forever before that actually hardens all the way up, and it would be no good. But I like to let it tack up, because when we put this over onto the other case, what we don't want to have happen is have it squeeze out into too much stuff. Fortunately, being a two-stroke, there's no oil pump, there's no head to lube and all that stuff. So if you get a little bit of debris or that stuff into the transmission or whatever, it's not the end of the world. You don't want it, but it's not the end of the world. A four-stroke, it could be the end of the world. You can clog up an oil passage and cause the whole thing to blow up. So we're going to let that sit for a little while, tack up, and then we'll come back and put it together. All right, guys, so let that set up now. It's been about 10 minutes. Now what we're going to do is we got to make sure one thing. On these guys, we have this breather. You got to make sure you put that breather into place like that before you do this. I've actually been able to do it afterwards. It sucks really bad, but you can. But I don't recommend it. I'm gonna set all this on here. There we go. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this. Let's see if I can show you guys here. So this is the nut for the end of the crank. So we're gonna set this down like that. We're gonna come. So you can see, we just drop that down. Put that on. Now we're gonna come up like this. We're gonna take our puller and thread. It's got a bunch of threads on it now. This part of the puller sits down in the case. I'm going to thread this on here. I'm just going to use pliers, wrenches. Yeah, you can get the right size wrench, doesn't matter. These they work good. And we're just going to slowly pull this crankshaft up through the case. And what this does is it puts zero stress on the bearing of the crank, which is really nice. See, starting to squeeze that out, so we should be good. Unscrew this. I just realized that I'm an idiot and I should have taken this off before to install this. That would have been much easier. I don't know what I was thinking. That's all right. We're learning. There you go, guys. This thing is pretty cool. I really like this puller. It's a lot less money than the Motion Pro one, and it works great. It also comes with a bolt that you can screw into a crankshaft, like on the other side of 4-strokes. Usually there's a bolt that goes in, some 2-strokes too. Anyway, this would screw into that and make that work good too. All right, now guys, I'm not going to show you this. I'm just going to drop all the case bolts in, torque them all down to 7 foot-pounds. Actually, I usually do 8 foot-pounds, to be honest. I run a little bit heavier, 8 foot-pounds. I've never stripped a bolt at 8 foot-pounds, so I run 8, a little tighter than what they call for, but I just feel better about it. And 8 foot-pounds is not much. So I'm going to put all those in, then we're going to go around, we're going to put all our seals in over here, then we'll flip the thing over, put all the clutch and everything back in. I'll show you guys that part. So yeah, we'll be right back. All right, guys, got everything tightened down on the other side, all 7 or 8 foot-pounds. Now we're going to reinstall everything over here. Now when we're doing this, guys, we want to, you know, there's a right order. So this definitely goes first. This is our shift shaft. We're going to go in, and what we want to do is make sure we grease this tip up. So the reason we're greasing that is so that when it goes through the seal on the other side, it doesn't tear it. There we go. So next is going to be our main gears and our water pump. So water pump needs to go on first. Then we have this little guy. He slides down. That is what engages the water pump. Then we take our main gear. Have our cup washer, guys. This is cupped just a little bit. It's hard to tell, but you want the cup up, or the convex side up. This is left-hand thread, so we're going to buzz this on. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this really good and put some stuck nuts on there. Next is our clutch. And make sure you get everything in order. So got a washer first.
So I've been going home and showering.
Should be good by then. Like,
How was your race last weekend?
so chest deep. Oops.
Yeah, nothing.
I am so done and but I mean, it was good. I mean,
That's brutal. Upslope storm is what it is.
Like, yeah, have fun. That's why I don't live there.
Yeah, I lived over there.
Some year, it absolutely puked on Denver. All right, guys, getting ready to put the cover on, and I've got a new water pump seal, so we're going to go ahead and push that out and drop a new one in, because the bearing is good. It's all nice and happy, but I might as well put a new seal in it just so we don't have any problems. All right, guys, so I'm gonna put the cover on. Got new seals everywhere. I got grease on all of our shafts that are going to go through those seals, so we'll slide this sucker on nice and easy. And on the 65, since the clutch actuator is in here, you got to make sure you get it lined up. If you got one, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just make sure it's lined up so that this dowel can go right through it.
Busy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Selling lots of Bobcats? All right, guys, so we got the motor back in the frame, obviously, and now I got this cover on, the flywheel on, stator plate and stator on. Pretty much done here. One last thing I'm going to do is check the transmission. Now, I usually check the transmission when it's on the bench, the motor's out. I feel super comfortable with this. But before I put everything together, we're still going to check it. So what you want to do is shift into first, make sure it's in gear. I'm going to go up to neutral. Rotates good. Second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. Okay, there's sixth. Now we're gonna come back down. All right, so I feel good about that. Like I said, I felt really comfortable with it anyway. I've done a ton of these motors, so anyway. I feel pretty good, but also I still like to check before I get everything back together and like start it. So I think we're gonna end the video here, guys. The next video we'll be doing the top end, installing the top end, and make sure you subscribe because we're gonna be doing fork seals, shock, service, all kinds of stuff on this build. So again, this is the loaner bike for WeBe Racing. They're going to be offering this up to first-time racers, kids who have never raced before, and be able to get a bike and go race for free without having to spend a bunch of money since they're actually into it. So pretty stoked about that, guys. Thank you so much. Big shout out to our sponsors, guys: Rocky Mountain ATV, MC, Onyx Off-Road, Toolbox Widget. Everybody, thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next one.